Hey everybody, it's HeroicMizu here. I have some exciting news for you, and if you can already tell by the footage, well, you're already one step ahead of everybody else who's watching this video. So I'm about to show you a new game that's coming out, which is called Lost Ark on February 8th. This is when the game officially launches, and that's only for people who have pre-ordered. If you want to play this game and you can't afford it, or you're not sure you want to try out this game, you definitely can test this game out on February 11th. It is free to play. It's going to launch free to play. So anybody else can try it. It's going to cost you only your time and also some hard drive space. But for the most part, I highly recommend this game. I'm super stoked about this game, and not only because I tested out the closed beta, I've been watching this game develop since like 2014 when I first heard about it. It's been 8 long years. It's been a long time. My patience says wear thin, especially on the state of gaming these past couple years, especially for the MMO department and whatnot. But for the most part, Lost Ark is here, or it's going to be here, and I finally will have a chance to officially play it once it finally releases. Let me try to sell you on definitely trying out this game, and maybe sell you on trying to buy a Founder's Pack. For the most part, this game is phenomenal. It hits all my checkboxes in what I'm looking for a game. And let me tell you, you will especially love this game, especially if you love MMOs and you love action RPGs. And by action RPGs, I mean games such as Path of Exile and Diablo. For MMOs, the closest MMO I would probably compare this game to is Black Desert Online. If Black Desert Online was in this top-down view and action RPG, this game would probably be it. And I was a former Black Desert player. I played for a couple years and I really enjoyed this game, but eventually just got burnt out. And I felt like for MMOs, there hasn't been anything that's been released lately. Everything felt like a remake of an old MMO or a cash grab, and it just sucks with the state of modern gaming. And the MMO itch I've been having in back of my mind is like, I'm never gonna find a good MMO again. But Lost Ark fulfills that need. And Lost Ark is not a true MMO. It has MMO elements into it, and I was super stoked that it finally has scratched that itch. So there's GVG, there's PvE, there's raids, there's 3v3 PvPs, there's crafting, there's life skills, there's also a stronghold, which is kind of like your home that you can furnish and stuff and farm resources. But there's a lot of guild elements that are in the game. This game is definitely going to scratch your itch, especially if you love those two categories. Like I said, I played so many MMOs in the past, especially starting with RuneScape, Silk Road Online, RF Online, Ragnarok Online. You name it, I probably played all of it. I tried at least every single mainstream MMO that came out. Even some niche ones like Fly for Fun, Maple Story. I played through, let's see, the big four that it, Guild Wars, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, and then Black Desert Online. So besides those big four, everything else just felt so lackluster. And there was New World launch, but I already knew that I wouldn't like New World. I tested it out the game, but I knew that looking at the end game of people who rushed it, it seemed so repetitive, and also there wasn't enough content. And I'm also not the biggest fan of Zerg PvP. That's not what I really enjoy. But for the most part, other than that, New World has a lot going for it. It has potential. But Lost Ark definitely fulfills the itch for me. It's MMO-esque, has everything I'm looking for, and also has tons of content. And I highly recommend that you try it because it's free to play. If you want to check out Lost Ark, I highly recommend that you check out the classes because there's going to be 10 plus classes. I'm not going to list them all out in the video, but you can definitely find videos of what classes that you might be interested in playing because every class plays different. There's a little bit of everything for somebody. There's assassins, there's gunners, there's tanks, there's a bard that can heal, there's mages, there's also a martial artist. So it's kind of up to you on what you want to play. You can try them all out, be my guest. But I highly recommend that you look at a video to see their playstyle because it may give you a different idea of what you might want to play. But I pretty much set on playing Sorceress because I enjoy mages, and I'm going to play a Deathblade, which is kind of like an assassin class, as my PvP class. So I'm going to focus on those two and then just play a couple alts. So those are my choices. But it took me a while in order to find the classes that I wanted to play because I tested them out in the closed beta and didn't like them. For Sorceress, I saw the gameplay and I much preferred traditional mages to the Arcana class that was originally available. So that's just me. But for the most part, once you pick your class, you're pretty much set on the journey for Lost Ark. There's going to be tons of things to do. It's going to be overwhelming. let me tell you, there's lots of content in this game. There's a lot of systems that you can do. So it's gonna be overwhelming. You can dive in blind, but I'm the type of player that is kind of like semi-competitive, so I'm going to do some research. I highly recommend that you check out Reddit or the Discord channel for Lost Ark. You can also check out YouTube as well. Just put Lost Ark Progression Guide. One of the channels will feed you super useful information, because Lost Ark can get super complicated. So maybe you need a guide just to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. But you can definitely go into this game blind. So however you want to play this game, go for it. But if you're semi-competitive or competitive, you probably already know that you should probably look into the Discord. So a couple channels that focus on the progression guide for Lost Ark, and then start there. If you're looking for Lost Ark content creators, I highly recommend Saint1. He has a lot of good information about raiding, progression. There's a lot of good information in his YouTube videos. He plays on the Korean servers that I've seen. And also Kanon, K-A-N-O-N, who does a whole bunch of Lost Ark PvP videos. So I like to watch both of those videos, and they pretty much cover me for the most part. There's a lot of other good channels out there. I don't know these guys personally, I just looked up these channels and they had tons of good info, which is what I'm going by. So highly recommend it if you're planning on becoming semi-competitive or competitive, or even if you just get confused as a casual player. They have a lot of good information in them. Maybe you can read if you get confused on like what tier 1 is, what tier 2 is, what tier 3 gear looks like, and what engravings look like, etc. So there's a lot of good information there, so I highly recommend those two. But for the most part, Lost Ark has a lot of things to do besides just the PvE, PvP content. There's also like collectible content as well that you can find throughout the game. There's things called Makoko seeds that are hidden throughout the world of Lost Ark, and some of them are behind dungeon walls and secret areas that you can find, and it's kind of like little fun things that you can do on the side. But for the most part, there's a lot of things for everyone. PvE content, PvP content, collectible content. If you just want to hang out in your pad with your stronghold, there's also that. And there's also, for the PvE content, if you're looking for difficult content, there is extremely difficult content as well. So at the end game, it's going to mainly focus on raids, and some of the raids are incredibly difficult. You need to be coordinated, you need to learn the mechanics. Some of the mechanics can one-shot you. You need to basically learn it. And one of the big things about Lost Ark that really impressed me was that I'm looking for a game that is challenging, not games that are super easy. I can steamroll through the content. A lot of games I feel are dumbed down these days, where they just make things too easy. But Lost Ark has challenging content if you're looking for it. You can do some of the raids at a higher difficulty level, and you get achievements from it if you can complete it. And that's what I'm looking for, is a challenge. And you know, you don't have to do the highest difficulty level, but for the most part you can clear out the easier one if that's what you want to do. It's up to you on how you want to play, but for the most part there's something for everyone. For the casuals, for the semi-competitive people, and also the hardcore players. And besides all that, in the regular world maps, if you're just wandering around the world, maybe you might run into a world boss, and the world boss can be super dangerous, as a FYI. I've been one-shot it, two-shot it many times throughout the world boss fight, so definitely be careful when you're around there. But for the most part, there's always something to do around the map and in the world of Lost Ark, and it's quite fun. It's very immersive. Map details are very nice. The music is very nice. There's tons of NPCs. A lot of them have voice acting to it, so this game is very fleshed out. And on top of it, if you zoom in on stuff, it's very detailed. So the level of detail and intention in Lost Ark is pretty crazy. I love how immersive it feels, and also I appreciate that a lot of stuff didn't feel recycled. So in some games, a lot of NPCs, a lot of mobs, a lot of the textures in the world feels very repetitive, feels lackluster. It's not this way in Lost Ark. Each dungeon felt like there was some love that was applied to the dungeon. They have different themes, different animations, there's different cutscenes that are very fleshed out, and it's pretty crazy the amount of detail that's in the world of Lost Ark. I'm super stoked about this. And if this hasn't excited you yet, maybe the PvE content is not there for you. Well, the PvP content you can access, I believe, at level 35, and you can just PvP your way to max level, I believe. And for the PvP content, there's 3v3s, there's GVGs. Eventually there will be open world PvP on open world content. I don't know when we'll get that, maybe in a year or two, but that's going to be there. And on top of it, I believe there's going to be tournaments hosted on, I believe, some servers. You gotta check out the Discord in order to see which one is the PvP server, but if you want to join local tournaments that are being hosted on there, it'll be there as well. So there's definitely the PvP aspect in the game. I know I talked quite a bit, but hopefully this gives you a better idea about Lost Ark and whether or not you may be interested in playing the game. The game is really fun, I assure you this. If you love MMOs and action RPGs, this is it. This is the game that you need to play. But you know, if you're still on the fence about it, check out the game on February 11th. It's free to play, like I mentioned. You know, it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. I assure you, the game is really good. But hopefully you guys give it a shot. That's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time for another video. Probably about Lost Ark, but we'll see what happens.